In this video, I will explain how Ippo might come out of retirement and return to boxing sooner than you might expect. Ever since Ippo retired from boxing to lead a healthier life, we have been eagerly awaiting his return to the sport, as he is still the main character and the story remains incomplete. We've been getting hints here and there that there's still a monster inside of Ippo that could dominate the featherweight division if he were to step back into the ring. And with each glimpse of Ippo improving his boxing abilities, the anticipation for his eventual comeback is hyping us more, to the point where we, the fans, just want him to return to boxing as soon as the next chapter hits. I will address the questions of why, when and how Ippo might make a comeback to the world of professional boxing. I will provide answers based on recent events in the manga, using logical and realistic possibilities while considering the character's motivation and how events might unfold. To address these important questions, we need to understand why Ippo retired from boxing in the first place, especially when he had so much potential and promise ahead of him. There are three main reasons why he quit boxing, and these reasons will play a key role in his eventual return. The first reason for his retirement was a lack of clear goal. Ippo's initial motivation for becoming a boxer was to understand what true strength really means. When he started boxing, he formed a rivalry with Miyata and saw something special in him. They were around the same age and both had a strong passion for boxing. Ippo believed that if he were to fight Miyata, he would find the answer to what true strength really is. So that is why they pushed themselves to the limits in preparation for their potential showdown. Ippo thought that facing Miyata would lead him to the answer he sought. However, Miyata cancelled the anticipated fight for a reason that still irritates me to this day, ultimately disappointing both of them greatly. Coach Kamogawa suggested that Ippo should forget about Miyata and focus on defeating the world featherweight champion Ricardo Martinez. This wasn't what Ippo truly desired, and he didn't even believe that he could beat Martinez. This lack of clear goal weakened Ippo's resolve and never gave him the hunger he needed in his matches. He simply wanted to make his coach proud for shaping him into the person he had become. But this reason alone wasn't enough to compete against champions like Martinez. He learned this the hard way when he suffered a painful defeat against the second-ranked boxer Alfredo Gonzalez. This brings us to the second reason, the accumulating damage Ippo experienced over time. Ever since Ippo took that heavy punch from Kojima, it has affected him in his subsequent matches. While the effects weren't immediately evident in the Alfredo fight, he started showing his first symptoms afterwards. He had difficulties drawing straight lines, lost his balance easily, and was knocked down more frequently. This pattern isn't coincidental. If you review all of Ippo's fights, you will notice a recurring theme. Initially, Ippo dominates the early rounds, but then his opponents become more serious and deliver intense beatings that push him to his limits. Ippo taps into his inner fighting spirit and stages a comeback, often securing a victory with a knockout. But these intense battles take a toll on him, especially on his head. Ippo was worried about developing punch-drunk syndrome if he continued boxing, and he wanted to avoid the risk of ending up in a wheelchair. Another reason for his retirement was his concern about his mother. While Ippo loves boxing and would love to continue doing it, he also deeply cares for his mother. She's a single parent with a health-draining job, and Ippo felt guilty leaving her alone during his boxing journey. He didn't want to add stress to her life by risking his health in the ring. That's why he made a definite decision to retire from boxing. Ippo says that he is satisfied with what he has accomplished during his active career and does not regret his retirement. However, his heart still belongs to boxing. That's why he is actively training two pupils for their upcoming boxing careers. He also assists his fellow boxing friends by sparring with them and providing advice for their upcoming matches, often serving as a second for the boxer. Even though he retired from the sport, his lifestyle revolves around boxing, and he is now in a perfectly healthy state after all the accumulated damage has healed up. The only thing holding him back from actively boxing again is his lack of boxing mentality and the fear of developing punch-drunk syndrome, or even worse, facing the possibility of death in the ring. While we understand the reasons behind his hesitation, the pressing question remains: how will he conquer this fear and find the motivation to make a triumphant return to the boxing ring? In the beginning of the video, I stated that I would address how, why and when Ippo is going to return to boxing. To answer how he returns to the ring is by eliminating his fear of getting brain damage, and the answer to how he is going to overcome this fear is by trusting his boxing abilities and having limitless confidence in his personal goal. Now, I love Ippo. He's an inspiration for me to confront my own fears and give my best in everything I do. I admire this guy, but he's incredibly cautious at heart. Despite having blessed genetics, powerful punches and strong fundamentals in boxing, he never enters the ring with the unwavering mindset that he will win the fight. The reason behind Ippo's cautious approach lies in his inherently nice and humble nature. He doesn't jump to conclusions about his chances of winning a match because he can't accurately rate his opponent's abilities before stepping into the ring. He often tolerates being talked down or even bullied by his fellow gym partners, which leads up to some genuinely hilarious moments. Additionally, he held back from confessing his feelings to Kumi for nearly 10 in-universe years because he's unsure of her sentiments towards him, even though it's quite obvious that she's interested in taking their relationship to the next level. Well, with that kind of attitude, one can only expect to achieve what Ippo did during his active career as a boxer. To succeed in the world of boxing, one needs to possess extreme self-confidence, sometimes to the extent that people might perceive it as having a high ego. A crucial element is having a clear and predetermined goal that fuels your determination until it's achieved. Take someone like Takamura for instance. He might come across as a massive douchebag, but it's this very ego that contributes to his consistent victories. He sees himself as an invincible monster, and his track record speaks volumes. Takamura effortlessly knocks out world-ranked boxers without breaking a sweat, despite dealing with a messed up leg and almost a detached retina. His relentless drive centers around capturing 6 titles from 6 individual weight classes, and he is committed to either realizing the goal or meeting the end in the ring. However, when we examine Ippo's journey, we notice that he lacks both the unwavering self-confidence and ego, as well as a clearly defined and predetermined goal. This is precisely why Takamura put on the monster line for Ippo. At the time, Ippo wasn't ready because he lacked the essential skills, and more importantly, he lacked the hunger needed to become a world champion. So the answer lies in his absence of compelling drive to achieve world champion status. But why would he even aspire to become world champion in the first place? To address this question, we need to delve into the current events unfolding in the manga. Ippo currently mentors 2 students, imparting to them the fundamental principles of boxing, a domain in which Ippo is a professional at. Both of his pupils are driven by the desire to become as strong as Ippo and eagerly anticipate their professional debut matches. However, it is likely that Ippo's pupils will lose their debut matches because there's one thing Ippo can never truly teach them, and that is what true strength really means. Ippo embarked on a personal quest to find the answer himself but never managed to grasp it. Consequently, he struggles to define a true goal. Since Ippo doesn't possess the answer himself, he turns to other matches for insight, such as the upcoming world title bouts involving Mashiba and Sendo. Mashiba's opponent, known for his cheating tactics and dangerous skills, has a grudge against Mashiba for no apparent reason. Believe me, if I had a haircut like this, I would be mad all the time too. But when the time comes for Mashiba's title match, everyone will expect Mashiba to come out injured or probably even retire because his opponent is that dangerous. What will happen is that Mashiba will definitely receive some heavy blows but will come out less injured than expected from the fight as a world champion. And with Sendo's match, he will face Ricardo Martinez, a man Ippo has targeted at one point but never reached. Let's face it, Sendo will lose this match, but what will happen is that he will prove the world that the invincible Martinez can be defeated by downing him during their match, but ultimately will end up losing it. With these 2 pivotal matches, Ippo will realize that 2 boxers he previously defeated have gone so far without him, reaching their own goals on their own terms. They understand what it means to be strong, but Ippo does not. Witnessing that Ricardo, the strongest featherweight on the planet, can be defeated with the right strategy and technique, 2 fundamentals Ippo has perfected during his retirement, will drive him to ponder the true essence of strength. To find the answer, he'll be determined to finish what he started, and that's defeating the reigning champion Ricardo Martinez. Ippo's true strength lies in his refusal to leave anything unfinished. Once he begins something, he relentlessly pursues it until he succeeds, and his determination initially led him to the world of boxing. He realized that a half-hearted attitude won't elevate him to Ricardo's level. Instead, he will focus on honing his boxing abilities to the point where he can avoid serious damage, either by maximizing his defense or his dodging, both of which he's significantly improved since his retirement. He'll face Ricardo with unwavering commitment to secure victory and uncover the true meaning of strength, which he'll then pass on to his pupils. Now, let's address when Ippo is likely to return to the ring. First, Mashiba and Sendo will have their world title matches, followed by their students' matches, in which they'll face defeat and seek answers about what it means to be strong. During this period, there will be chapters dedicated to Ippo's self-reflection on whether he will indeed make his comeback. Therefore, it's estimated that we'll witness Ippo's return to the ring approximately 70 or to 100 chapters. While it maybe take some time, considering Hajime no Ippo's weekly release schedule and storytelling pacing, the scenario seems plausible. How do you think Ippo will make his return to the ring? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you have enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more Hajime no Ippo content. I'm the Reading Crow, and thanks for watching.